That's where Isaiah 41:10-13 come in. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, do not fear, I will help you. This is a promise from God that we experience numerous times. You see, if God is going to bring you to it, He'll bring you through it. I know Greg believed this because he would say to me, Mom, it doesn't pay to worry, because what's going to happen is going to happen anyway. Those were some great and wise words from him, but our fears weren't over yet.
After 10 rounds of chemotherapy plus some radiation, things were not going well. The cancer was getting worse. There was so many fears. How do you help a 15-year-old? How do you help him fight for life and prepare for death? What effect does this have on Janelle, watching her brother die? What effect does it have on our marriage? How will this affect our faith? Shortly after we found out Greg had cancer, I said to a friend one day, if Greg doesn't get through this, my faith is really going to suffer. 1 year later, Janelle and I were talking. I said, regardless if Greg gets through this or not, if we lose our faith, we have nothing left. How God was working in my life. At that time, though, our family could really feel the presence of God in our life. How could it be any different than with all the prayer support we were getting from our friends and church family? I'm sure you all remember, and I'll never forget, the couple hundred people making a circle around our house and praying for us on a Sunday afternoon. The 24-hour prayer vigil that was held on our behalf. This is just a couple of the wonderful things you guys did for us. We thank you so much. As Greg's health was failing, you could see his faith getting stronger. 3 weeks before Greg died, he asked me if we could pray a prayer of confession together because he wanted to be absolutely sure he was saved. As a parent, what a wonderful feeling. 2 weeks before Greg died, he shared lots of things. He talked to each one of us individually, and I said I wasn't going to do this. They just give us a lot of strength to go on. It was no longer the fear of dying for Greg, but I was wondering what was taking so long. I'll never get the final hours of Greg's life. Pastor Dave, who was always there for us, always said to Greg, God would never let you go, and he would never let you down. Words Greg would live to experience his final night on earth. In the final 6 hours of Greg's life, I watched him have glimpses of heaven, followed by a time where the devil chose to make one last effort for Greg. Greg screamed, get away, several times. Then that great fear in Greg was taken away. Happy and relieved, Greg said several times, it's gone, it's gone, it's gone. He is now at peace. Shortly after that, Greg's life was over. Just to think that Satan will battle for us up to our last breath. But we need not fear, because God will win that battle and not let us go. He will not let us go as long as we put our faith and trust in Him. I thank God for sharing that final hours of Greg's life with me. Life is now much more serious than it used to be because we've seen how fragile it can be. There's been many valleys to go through. But as long as we keep God as our focus, we've learned our fears will be overcome. The morning Greg passed away, his good friend Jason Mulder came over. The first thing Jason said to me was, "He made it." This is now our goal as a family, that we make it so we can all be together.
Fear and how I have dealt with it. First of all, Dan stole most of my early thunder, so that's all right then. Obviously, we all have fears starting, Dan went through a lot of them as we were growing up and older on in life. And a lot of us have fears that are just unique to each and every one of us. And obviously right now I have a fear that none of you have. I'm up here. But I did leave out the fear of death and dying. And maybe I'll touch on some of the situations in my lifetime where death was on my doorstep. In 1996, the fear of cancer entered my life. I have a biopsy done and had to wait a week for the results, and that in itself was a lot of anxiety. And then on Friday when the doctor called and confirmed, like Marlene mentioned, the C word, cancer, left a lot of fear in my life. And after several days probably of self-pity, self-wheeling around, feeling sorry for myself, I finally started to feel the prayers, the care, the love, the support of people in the congregation. And with God's help, my competitive spirit, I guess, started to come out in me. And I've obviously been battling that ever since, but with the help of each and every one of you through your love, care, and God's help, everything's been going pretty good. And obviously I'm not alone in this. Many of you have gone through it. Many of you are still going through it. Almost exactly 1 year later, I had a mild heart attack, and was told that I needed a bypass surgery, and I had that done in Madison. And I had to go up the day before to get ready for the surgery the next day. And that evening, as I was laying in my room, a guy next door knocked on the door and said, "Can I come in and pray for you?" And I obviously said, "Sure." He was there with his wife. They were just in their 30s. She had a serious heart condition, and somehow during the day he had heard that I was going to have surgery the next day. But how neat, how special is that? Somebody that doesn't even know you that will come and pray for you. Later that evening, or actually early in the morning, a couple of minutes before 5 o'clock, an hour or so before the surgery, there was another light tap on the door, and this was Pastor Lindemann. He had gotten up at 3 o'clock in the morning to come and pray for me. How neat or how special to be a part of the family of God. Shifting gears, maybe going back 40 plus years to when I was in the service. I was 22 years old and had orders to go to Vietnam. And my MOS, or military occupation specialty, was